This is Hector Vladimir, again with Living Off the Grid in the City radio show, episode 8. And this is the 2nd of September 2015. I want to be taking a lot of material from a presentation I put together on August 25th, the disadvantages of conventional retail stores, or the disadvantages of using conventional retail stores. And I'll go into the details of what conventional retail stores are in this episode 8. Again, I want to discuss the disadvantages of using conventional retail stores by citing 6 main points, 6 main areas, or 6 main disadvantages of using conventional retail stores. And why am I going to discuss this? Why deviate or take a detour from living off the grid? I mean, what does this have to do with living off the grid, you may ask? And I answer to that depending on retail stores in the conventional way is energy wasteful, energy inefficient. As it is, and it needs to be a habit that changes, that is reformed to be able to get off the grid and have no problem. I don't advocate being away or separated from society. This is far from what I advocate. What I do advocate is independence, freedom, and self-reliance to the maximum possible state, or to the maximum and possible of your efforts, of your capability. So to begin, first I want to go over the 6 main areas that I want to cover. First one is that using conventional retail stores is a waste of time and resources. I'll discuss why I think that's true. It's a waste of storage space and resources. Prices are less flexible and higher for the most part, and higher or lower than needed stock is usually kept in those stores. Local competition is diminished or sometimes eradicated in some areas. And lastly, but not least, the trade power of the internet is not fully used, or not used at all, if using conventional retail stores remains. Okay, first, one huge disadvantage is that using conventional retail stores is a waste of time and resources. Why is this so? So the simple act of going to the store triggers a chain of other expenditures and costs that are hard to estimate and could be quite high. This happens quite often. Just think of the vehicle maintenance costs that could be attributed to every shopping trip you ever did. Such amounts could be outrageous, and you take into consideration gas costs and every cost or energy expenditure that's associated with using your vehicle. Shopping nowadays is a very common task for most Americans, and it is used many times more than online shopping. This is true even in the midst of the internet age, which is a sad but true situation. And it's a large consumer of everyone's available energy, which is paid for energy. Again, going to the store consumes tons of energy, and this is when considering the whole community, nation, country, the world as a whole. Also considering a lifetime of going to a store. Can you just imagine how much energy you spend over a lifetime going to stores and purchasing items, many of which you don't even need? So that energy spent on shopping in stores can be calculated as a percentage of the cost of the energy required to maintain this habit, and costs such as vehicle maintenance, insurance, and vehicle devaluation per year. All of these costs could amount to many thousands of dollars per year per individual, and billions of dollars per community if you take into consideration, like I said, community, the country, nation, world, etc. Additionally, think about the percentage of contributed pollution each trip you take to the store entails. When I say pollution, I mean not only pollution that comes out of your tailpipe from your vehicle, it's pollution of the environment through littering. A lot of people eat out when they go out to shop, produce tons of garbage. The pollution that's produced using the energy that's required to go to the store. For example, electricity, the energy that's spent making the clothes that you use to go to the store, the amount of pollution that's generated making the food that you consume to go to the store and while at the store, or to and from the store. You got to think about all those factors. Much of the energy you spend from the food you eat goes to shopping. As I just mentioned, also, the time spent getting ready, driving and walking through a huge department store can amount to over many dozens of hours at least per month, if not close to 100. And more in some cases. Some people have this itch, this drive to go shopping. And when you think about it, what can you accomplish in 8 hours per month? What can you accomplish in 20 hours per month? 50, 60 hours per month that you may spend in going to stores. And going to stores not only requires the time at the store, it requires the time going to the store, spending the time at the store and coming from the store. So it's quite a bit of time. And think about the energy also and the resources and time spent on shopping, including all the material resources that the act of shopping requires. Again, the material resources of shopping are not just the clothes you put on, the gas you spent. They go far beyond that. It goes as far as the people making the clothes that you wear, the car manufacturers, the cell phone manufacturers. All those people and industries are mobilized for people like you and me to go shop, to use many other manufactured and produced items and technologies just so you and I can get up off our butts and go shopping. Moving on to the next topic, waste of storage and space and resources, such as warehouses, maintaining stock handling. These are very true and very important resources that are very much wasted in the act of shopping in the conventional way, getting up, driving to the store. The costs incurred by keeping merchandise for stores are enormous. Multi-million-dollar air-conditioned buildings need to be built, for example, staffed and maintained only to keep a bunch of over or understocked merchandise in a certain location for everyone to hopefully go pick up and buy when they need it or want it. So these huge buildings, these huge mega malls, strip malls, shopping malls, however you want to call them, these buildings could cost from millions to billions of dollars. I just saw a documentary on the Dubai mega mall where this enormous and disgustingly fancy complex of buildings was built just so the rich and famous and the visitors, tourists, go there and be all amazed and with an open jaw when they stare at all these fancy stores and fancy buildings. All that energy, builders, resources, millions of tons of concrete and steel erected just to house a handful of jewelry stores, fine clothing stores. It's just disgusting if you ask me. This system is highly wasteful, as I have explained and will keep explaining and exposing, and could be eradicated altogether, especially in the wake of internet shopping. This has been true not just recently, but in the last at least 15 years. This has been the case. It is about time. It is overdue that this system just crumbles and collapses. People going to the store. That needs to stop, in my opinion. Warehouses are expensive to build and maintain, let alone fancy stores that aim to attract buyers simply because of the glamour and the aura of buying at their store. Many stores just advertise and sell products and work very hard and spend millions of dollars to make a name. Just put their name out there and make it so that people look for just a name because of the supposed quality and reputation. But I don't think it goes that far. I think people just simply look for the name because of the sound, because of the commercials associated with it, because of the popularity of it alone. Quality and reputation come at the very end. They come last, if they're considered at all. Many people would buy crappy products as long as they have a popular name attached to it. The name will make up for the low quality of the product any day. This is just common knowledge. This is known. Ask your average teenager or average young adult that searches for names and ask them a reason why they look for the name. And 9 times out of 10, they will tell you that it's just the name. They may mention quality, but only as a last resort and probably without much meaning and without being aware of what they're saying. Also, warehouses are expensive to build and maintain. Like I just mentioned, these buildings have polished floors and expensive decorations that could amount to tens of thousands of dollars per store. These buildings need massive amounts of maintenance, and the store owners and chain owners, they spend hundreds of thousands and millions in personnel, professionals to come in and decorate and give the stores a feel-good atmosphere. They want their stores to give the visitors, buyers, a certain feel, and this feel is usually directed to uphold their name, their brand, or brands. The funds that are used to build these stores could be used to more important ends or things like education, healthcare, community projects, and social programs, and more. There won't be a need to build and keep up with any of these buildings and warehouses, only a fraction of them for the major retail stores, if the internet shopping is widely accepted and used. For example, Amazon and eBay, which are right now, in 2015, the major online retailers, as far as I know. These retailers could keep strategically located and fully automated warehouses throughout many regions. Then a large percentage of the trading and shopping could be peer-to-peer or P2P, skipping the middle salesperson. This could save millions of dollars in the process. But before that, this is a way for the retail stores to just go down the drain. Before we reap all the benefits of online trading and buying, the major stores need to fail. And they will if everybody just embraces this online shopping revolution. Maintaining stock is also highly wasteful. Stock needs to be constantly washed over, moved around, and stock also needs to be kept in temperature controlled rooms. This is many or perhaps most of the merchandise. And merchandise needs to be attempted to be sold under much pressure, as much of it expires over time. Okay, again, maintaining stock is just nonsensical, and it needs to be minimized to the best of our abilities. Again, the best way to do that is just to get rid of store buying as we have it today. Just to highlight, a lot of merchandise expires, not only because, like food, they may go bad, or certain products may degrade over time. This is not the case as much as how products expire because of their technology and their fashion. Technology changes and improves so quick, especially electronics and computer technology and car technology, that an item that sits in the shelves for too long may just not be bought because there's so much better items already in the market and more advanced. So that item is basically wasted. All that energy that went into making such item is just wasted. So there is a lot of pressure to get these items out and sold by salespeople. And there is a solution, or one of several solutions, that I will discuss here. The personnel to keep up with merchandise as stock is enormous. The cost to keep these personnel employed is enormous
for the retailers.
And the economy in general pays for this. And in the end, the consumer pays for all of it. While keeping up with stock or merchandise, jobs are provided. These jobs are rather monotonous, boring, and mind-numbing. Just ask your average shoe department store clerk, or ask your average cashier. See how much they really enjoy and like their job and think their job as a career. Think about all the forklifts, diesel generators, trucks, air-conditioned storage, refrigerated storage, and massive amount of power that could be saved if most stores, buildings, malls, warehouses, etc. are just demolished. Just think about all the heartache that could be prevented if these didn't exist. Yes, there wouldn't be many cashier positions, there wouldn't be store manager positions, store security, there wouldn't be as many cleaning jobs, but like everything else in the economy, things tend to adjust as far as jobs and careers. Those people would very likely find or seek other employment, perhaps much better, with a lot more meaning attached. Okay, to move to the next topic, prices are less flexible and higher. This is using the conventional retail stores. Stocking fees are added, maintenance fees are added, locality costs are added, and abuse is likely due to unavailability of products. Stocking merchandise adds costs to all items. Keeping a product in a warehouse, for obvious reasons, adds costs to those items, so you will end up paying more for them. This is because of the massive energy and resources used to transport stock and maintain them while in storage. These added fees are ultimately added to the price of the items which are sold, and the ones that don't sell incur a bigger loss. This is a loss not only to the seller but you, society, because that's energy that's wasted that could have been used elsewhere. Energy, funds, effort, you name it. Again, personnel, property, real estate, and energy is dedicated to these items that are manufactured to be stored and attempted to be sold. Even when they still sit in warehouses, all of these energies are still being spent on the item. So in the end, prices for all items are bloated and higher than they should be, and this is because the pull-push method would not be used. It is usually not used in the current method. The push-pull method is a 5 Sigma, 5S method that requires manufacturers to build only as demand requires them. For example, if a vacuum cleaner is sold, then another one is built to replace it. Not one more is built until that vacuum cleaner is sold. Instead of manufacturing 1,000 vacuum cleaners, hoping to sell them all, a lot less would be built. And not necessarily one is sold, one is built. There could be a little bit more of a cushion there, In case of a higher demand, maybe 10 could be built. Shipping lanes would be a lot more busy for some items since there are a lot more people buying certain items than others. But right now, that's not the case. Millions of items are usually built, hoping to sell maybe a fraction of it, at least half. The rest just sits in warehouses hoping to sell at discounted prices later on. And that's just a wasteful approach to trade, manufacturing, purchasing. Prices become less flexible when the added costs of stocking these items are attached to them, making many retailers sell items at no less than a minimum price or lose the item. Like I mentioned before, many items, they have so much cost attached to them because of the energies required to store them that many companies just choose to not sell them or get rid of them altogether, to classify them as losses rather than sell them for less than the price of the energies that went into the item. So many people are in the middle, transporting, handling, caring for these items that the item just keeps gaining cost, and in the end it may not be sold, and it's economically better to just get rid of it and claim it as a loss in today's economy, especially here in the US. Locality fees can also be attached to items or merchandise when they're stocked at a certain location. For example, if an item is stocked in New York City or Tokyo, where space is scarce and expensive, this added cost is added to each item. So storage cost,
depending on where it is stored,
it could add a significant amount of cost to each item, which if I'm here in Georgia or someone in Miami wants to buy an item that's been stored in New York for a few months, they will end up paying for that unnecessarily. Alternatively, items could be pulled and pushed one at a time, or close to one at a time, not necessarily just one, or stored in a cheaper and less costly location to be delivered only at request. This is only possible if internet shopping is widely used, or a lot more used than it is today. It's used quite a bit, but not quite as much as it should be, in my opinion. Items have the appearance of being only available at certain stores or locations. This is under the current system, and a higher price than it is worth may be attached to it because of its exclusivity. A lot of stores claim or make people believe that they have products only available at that certain store, that certain name, that certain town. So this is also something that could attach cost to prices unnecessarily. Stores work hard to give the appearance of being the only ones to carry the item. Again, the internet and global delivery systems such as UPS, FedEx, USPS have changed the game in the trade and purchasing, and should be used to minimize the costs associated with stocking items in stores and warehouses. Moving on to the next topic. Next two topics, higher or lower than needed stock is likely kept at most stores, since the push and pull demand is unlikely to be used, like I mentioned. And walking through aisles requires time, requires energy, as mentioned earlier. And picking up unneeded items due to impulsive shopping is highly likely during trips to the store, as I will discuss here shortly. Conventional stores, more often than not, keep stocks at higher or lower than needed numbers. This situation creates unnecessary costs to merchandise because of storage costs added to overstock and demand costs added to items that must be rush delivered due to low or no availability. The best option is the push-pull model, as I mentioned earlier, from 5 Sigma. The push-pull model of trade is not the only model, but it's one that is unlikely to be used when over or understocking is happening, as the current system tends to practice or do. When lower than needed merchandise is kept by stores, then those that need the merchandise suffer due to unavailability, and when the merchandise is abundant, then waste and environmental damage is likely, since the energy that went into making those extra items that are not needed or will not be bought could have been spent or used elsewhere for more important ends. Overstocking necessarily detours needed resources from important social, health, and educational means or ends. Going and using conventional stores is time and energy wasting in a human sense. The act of waking up, sometimes early in the morning, on weekends, holidays, Black Friday, before Christmas, etc., is very energy wasting and unnecessary. The act of walking through the aisles of modern stores, which are quite big at times, is energy and time demanding, potentially taking up many hundreds of hours per person per year. Uses up massive amounts of energy. not only in the form of electrical, gas, heat energy, but also human energy. Energy that you could spend caring for people, children, elderly, sick, making anything, building, learning, etc. Aisle shopping, as it currently occurs for the most part, may trigger impulsive shopping and or hoarding. Many people pick up extra items on every trip they make to the store as they attempt to maximize the use of these trips, which cost them quite a bit. Thus, over shopping or hoarding. Impulsive shopping, just to keep with fad, fashion, or latest models, is likely during trips to the store. And this is a very, very big factor for attempting to get rid of the current retail stores. They just trigger or encourage this type of
abhorrent
behavior. Now next to discuss the local competition has been diminished or eradicated in many cases. This is due to the way conventional retail stores and businesses operate.
They are
rabid and very viciously competitive. Local stores drive other similar stores out of business most of the time.
They gobble each other up.
Then they proceed to raise prices or abuse manufacturers. Hint,
Walmart. The
trade power of the internet is not fully used or not used at all. And these are the two main topics I'm going to cover here in the next few sentences. Many local stores have grown disproportionately large.
Walmart.
Large enough to knock almost every other store out of business in the local vicinity or area.
Walmart.
The establishment of virtual monopolies.
Walmart.
Will give an impression of lower prices and choice.
Walmart.
But in fact this drives up prices when they should be lowered. Lower prices is just a illusion, as think about it, there's no comparison. There's nothing else to compare it to. So yes, if they say our prices are the lowest,
Walmart,
you tend to believe it since you have no other reference to go by. This limits variety using the conventional retail stores as they exist and creates cheaper quality products.
Walmart.
You know, mega stores like
Walmart,
mega chains tend to give the impression of lowering their price, which a lot of times it is lower, but they fail to mention that their quality is a lot lower as well. Products must necessarily become less quality because suppliers and manufacturers are bullied.
Walmart.
Bullied into producing cheaper, thus less quality products. There is just no way around that. Less price, less quality, period. This is because manufacturers also look to gain profit, thus sacrificing quality for costs. If you want to sell
to Walmart,
you have to lower your price, thus lower your quality, and that is how Walmart claims to have lower prices
for
some products, not by far all of them or most of them, not nearly. The internet has also brought about massive changes in world trade, as most of us have experienced, and your local town shops are not the only choice for shoppers. Unlike most stores try to
make it appear that
they are the only ones in town that have what you need and you need not go anywhere else. They have a online presence as well, the major stores do, and most people now think also that if you don't get it at the store, physical stores, you can buy from their website under their name, which is also deceiving and harmful because there's so many other places you could buy from, so many other small stores, so many other home-based businesses, individual owners. It's just ridiculous the amount of variety and choice that you have through the internet. The internet has brought about a massive change in world trade, as we experienced since close to now 2 decades ago. The cost of shopping has steadily decreased, as many of us have experienced as well, and more efficient transportation methods have allowed this, and the cost of shipping have equaled or exceeded the efficiency of bulk shipping and mass storage of the conventional stores. By keeping the current mode of shopping, which is mainly going to stores and rarely buying online, then the trade power of the internet is wasted or not used to its full extent, which is in itself wasteful. So what to do now? Yes, hopefully you are convinced or on your way of being convinced that store shopping is just outdated and wasteful. Then what? Now what? What do you do? First, online shop. Support the online retail industry as much as you can. Shop for the best value, price, quality, shipping, warranty, etc. And demand for the widest area of competition, whether it be national or true worldwide, not just Western countries. Demand true worldwide, and I'll explain that in a minute. We should demand the growth and betterment of online shopping, and the best way to do this is by using online shopping, online stores, as much as you possibly can. Try to resist the itch, resist the crave, the drive to get up and go and get it right now because you want to have it in your hands. Resist the temptation. Wait for it, look for it online, research it, look it up, think about it, sleep on it. Order it when you're ready, if you're ready and able, and wait for it. Demand free shipping, if at all possible. A lot of times, even paying for shipping, you can save a lot of money by buying online simply because someone across the country may have it for a lot cheaper than they have it at your local store. So it's a lot of times worth waiting, save money, and at the same time support online buying. Demand cheaper and free shipping products and better online products, better quality. Refuse to buy from sellers that don't allow rating or have bad rating. This is getting a lot better in the major retailers like eBay and Amazon. And you can usually see ratings which are fairly accurate for the most part from my experience. So you can go by those and make sure you give rating yourself if you do buy a product and use it. Contribute to the worldwide network of communication and knowledge by giving ratings.
Quit
going to conventional stores. That's absolutely necessary if you want this system to just crumble, or at least make it
as minimal as possible.
Yes, you may have to go do your groceries, which now is not really even necessary. You can also do your groceries online, have it delivered if you're willing to do that, and may even save a few bucks. Think about it. Try it. If this is done in a mass scale, stores will begin to close, shrink, or evolve to something that is less wasteful and more useful to society. Also, true worldwide trade should be demanded. By this I mean demand products from every corner of the world, not only Western countries like here in America. People like to buy from American buyers, maybe Chinese increasingly, but they forget about
the Middle East,
the African countries, South America, etc. You hardly hear anyone or see anyone selling from Chile in eBay and getting a lot of demand here in the United States. It's just non-existent for the most part, so demand it, look for it. It should slowly begin to creep up and grow into a truly world market. So, just to review what we've gone through in the last
25 minutes
for this episode of Living Off the Grid, for the disadvantages of conventional retail stores, which this topic does have a lot to do with getting off the grid. It does have to do a lot with saving energy. The grid is not only what you're connected to through wires or through pipes. It is also what you're connected to through invisible lines of
dependence, such as
stores, your grocery store,
your local gas station, your local pharmacy, your local mall.
You can cut those lines, cut those cords, and throw lines in many different directions, not just that one thick cord to Walmart, not that one thick cord to Publix or Kroger or CVS pharmacy. Think worldwide. Throw hundreds thin lines to many individual sellers throughout the world, in Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, South Africa, the Congo, India, Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, Cambodia. All those countries
and many, many more
have something to sell online. Look for it. Don't depend
solely
on your local
Walmart.
I have covered 6 main topics. First, waste of time and resources is one of the disadvantages of retail stores. Going to the store wastes energy, gas, and human energy, wastes resources in vehicle maintenance costs, registration, etc., produces pollution. Walking through aisles is wasteful in energy and resources. The second main topic we covered is waste storage and space resources that are wasted using retail stores. Warehouses are built and maintained using a massive amount of resources that could be used elsewhere. Maintaining stock, handling stock, the personnel required for this, the equipment and energy required for this is just enormous. Price of products which are far less flexible and much higher than they should be, and this is because of stocking fees which are added, maintenance fees, locality costs, exclusivity fees, and all the other costs, affixed to products because of
having them shipped and stored in retail stores en masse,
the higher and lower than needed stock,
which are kept at most stores.
These do not use the push and pull method of 5S. Local competition is,
in many cases, non-existent. Walmart.
Local stores drive other similar stores out of business in many cases, then proceed to raise prices.
Walmart.
And or abuse manufacturers.
Walmart.
And
workers and
consumers as well. And lastly, the trade power of the internet is not fully
used.
So, by now I hope that you at least are on your way to understanding why retail store use is just an outdated,
wasteful, and abhorrent
habit, which must be either stopped or
reformed,
changed. This has been a recording for Living Off the Grid in the City, with a special presentation on the disadvantages of conventional retail stores. This is Hector Vladimir. This recording was done the 2nd of September 2015. Thank you for listening or watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day or evening. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please look for the next episode soon, and please ensure to share this with your friends and family. And please like this content and subscribe as a sign of support and for me to continue to provide this type of content to more people like you. Lastly, if you wish to support this content further, please visit the links provided in this publication. Thank you.